is where the Chiefs team hotel is located. Fine gentlemen here to deliver us the news regarding Kansas City Chiefs this morning. James, Peter, kick us off with everything we need to know on this Wednesday morning.
Well, good morning, Jamie. It is a pleasure to see you on television. I miss having you at the table, but I'm here with this fine gentleman who has been spending his week with the Kansas City Chiefs. And the big question still as we start Wednesday, James Palmer, Patrick Mahomes' ankle. You were with the team yesterday. You got a chance to speak to those guys. What's the latest on the ankle that everybody's watching so closely ahead of the game and the kickoff on Sunday?
Peter, I have been on ankle watch for several weeks now. It's not just this week, but we did get a big update in terms of where Patrick Mahomes stands with that ankle. And I had a chance to talk to him a little bit yesterday. And here's how later in the week is going to go. And Friday's practice and Saturday's practice, he told me, are going to be the big days where he tests that ankle. He wants to push it a little bit because he wants to try to go out on Sunday and play with no restrictions. Now, the interesting part about it is they have several plays in their game plan, he told me, that are marked. And what he means by that is they've gone through them last week in Kansas City when they put the game plan in early in the week at a slower pace. Now, at the end of the week, they're going to try to ramp him up and have him perform them closer to full speed to see if he can do them physically. Then he told me if I can't, they'll be pulled from the game plan. If I can, they'll be put in. But he also did say, we got plenty of plays.
Oh, I think
we know Andy Reid. There's plenty of plays in the game plan. He said, we'll be fine if we can't do a couple of them. But he does believe, as he told me, that he is in a much better spot than he has been in the past with this ankle and the way the treatment's gone. They're going to really test it on Friday and Saturday.
Ankle watch is important. Real quick before we get to the Philadelphia side, party watch. The NFL hosted an NFL media party last night. I know you were in attendance. I saw it all over TMZ. Your review of the party.
It was rather large. I should have worn my pedometer. We were at Schrute Farms, I believe. It was like 700 yards of farm space. Yeah, to go and try to catch. I tried to find somebody. I was alone for a lot of it because it was dark. But I got a lot of steps in.
Okay.
It was a nice scene. I liked it.
Okay. Mahomes' ankle and the party watch, and now Omar Ruiz with the Philadelphia Eagles. Omar, you've been doing a fantastic job all week long covering those Eagles. You're at their team hotel. What's the latest on the Philadelphia side of things?
Well, let me just say that the brisket tacos last night were the hit of the party. And they weren't just good for a party. They were good, period. Let me tell you what, those brisket tacos stole the show at the NFL media party. As for the Eagles, the big injury that's been fascinating to watch over the last several weeks has been that of Lane Johnson, the star right tackle, injured his groin. Week 16, he missed week 17 and 18. Obviously, they had the bye. He's been rehabbing. He's been working through it. Came back against the Giants, absorbed the contact, was able to have a good game against New York, and followed that up with an equally impressive performance against Nick Bosa and the San Francisco 49ers. He bristled when I asked him how he was feeling. He said he's good. He's ready to go for Super Bowl Sunday. He said he talked to Cam Jordan earlier in his recovery, the star defensive pass rusher for the New Orleans Saints, and he said that Cam Jordan dealt with a similar injury, and there wasn't necessarily any advice that he was able to take from him, but just the fact that somebody else was able to play at a high level gave him that reassurance. He's been working through it. He'll be ready to go, ready to handle Chris Jones and Frank Clark and whoever else the Chiefs might throw his way on Sunday.
Omar, excellent stuff. Thank you guys so much. Just you have to be the mature one, okay? Amongst you three, Schrager, Palmer, and Omar Ruiz wandering around there. I feel like I trust you to keep things under control. Thanks, Omar. We'll talk to you in a little bit.
Thank you. Yeah.
So how tough is picking a Super Bowl 57 winner going to be? From the numbers perspective, pretty darn tough in the 2022 season. The Chiefs and Eagles have identical records. They have scored the same amount of points. They have the same amount of first and second team, all pros, including a Kelsey on one side and the other. And their quarterbacks have each earned accolades through the roof, and then they've each earned a #1 seed in their conference. So if you wanted the numbers to tilt your wagon one way or the other, they're not going to do it for you. Do either one of these teams have a leg up? And if they do, what is it, Kyle?
I think this is a great question, and I do an exercise every Super Bowl, especially the ones that are hard to pick, where I just take the rosters, bam, bam, and I just compare them position to position, and I declare a winner. So right guard, left guard, safety, whatever it may be, and I see who has the better. And I did this before the Patriots-Eagles Super Bowl, the first one, when everyone was on the Patriots and Brady, and I'm like, You know, at almost every position, the Eagles are better. There's just some high-profile ones like quarterback to get distracted from, so I did it on this one. I took the Chiefs, and I took the Eagles, and I just said, who's got a better guy at every position? Now, some of them are tough. I thought Joe Thuney is slightly better than Landon Dickerson. I think Jason Kelce is slightly better than Creed Humphrey. But, guys, I came out with a 15-7 advantage for the Philadelphia Eagles. 15-7. Now, if you want to throw in Tommy Townsend, the Chiefs punter, and Harrison Butker, the Chiefs kicker, then it becomes 15-9. But the only positions I found on the entire Chiefs roster that are better than the Eagles, I got Joe Thuney, Trey Smith, 2 guards. I got Jerick McKinnon, the RB2. I got Mahomes. I have Kelce, Chris Jones, and Juan Thornhill. That's 7 positions out of 22 total in which I think the guy the Chiefs line up is better than the guy the Eagles line up. Subject for debate? Possibly. Is this airtight? Probably not. But this is my own evaluation. And the last time the Eagles were in the Super Bowl, people thought it was crazy to pick them. They had a better team. The Chiefs have a better quarterback than the Eagles, and that means a lot. They definitely have a better tight end, and that means a lot. I think the Chiefs have an inferior roster. I think the Eagles have better players top to bottom, and that's why I've said this now for 15 consecutive days. It feels like 15. 31-20 Eagles, 31-20 Eagles. I think they have better players on their team from top to bottom, Jay.
15-9 when you add in the specialists.
Yes.
And I'm going to piggyback off of what you said. I'm going to talk about the Eagles' defensive line. Because of all the positions you said, you didn't give the Chiefs that edge at all other than a Chris Jones. Yep. This Eagles pass rush is unbelievable. And you look at these guys here, and it's not just Hassan Reddick, who's gotten a ton of credit as the playoffs have rolled around, as he should. 19.5 sacks this year, including the playoffs. But they have 4 guys that are over 12 sacks this season, and that doesn't even include Fletcher Cox, who has 8 sacks this season, including the playoffs. They have done a tremendous job of just getting after the quarterback. I'm kind of envisioning like Tweety Bird as Patrick Mahomes just running around all over the field as Sylvester the Cat is just chasing him, trying to get him down. And look at these numbers. Like, the Eagles aren't just having a good season. It's on historic pace, 78 sacks. They go out here in the Super Bowl and they rack up some sacks. They're in company with the 84-85 Bears.
And the 85 Bears had a ton in that Super Bowl 20 against the Patriots. Richard Dent was the MVP. A defensive end was the Super Bowl MVP.
That's why I love you. Richard Dent was the MVP of the Super Bowl. Could Hassan Reddick be the MVP of this Super Bowl if they're able to get to Patrick Mahomes? So to your point, this Eagles roster, this defensive line is probably the best in the NFL. And this is why they're still standing.
Yeah, anybody that asked Justin Tuck, he still thinks he was the Super Bowl MVP.
He might have been.
And defensive players, you know, listen, a huge part in this game. We make so much about this game about the quarterbacks, but it's who can get to the quarterbacks, who can hit them, who can harass them, who can knock them around. I love the roster comparison.
That's
so one little thing that I'll look at, and I can't wait to hear Schrager's beatdown of these rosters. Go ahead.
Have one.
The corners. To me, that's the glaring thing that jumps out at me. All right, not just experience, but talent-wise. Look at the Eagles' corners. I feel like they've got an unbelievable advantage with the corner position. James Bradbury, who they picked up from the Giants, who just discarded him for peanuts. Pennies on the dollar, really. And then Darius Slay on the other side. You have 2 legitimate lockdown corners. James Bradbury has been one of the best corners this entire season in the entire league, right? And I think when you look at what he has enabled this defense to do, now, all of a sudden, look, you don't have to bring all these exotic blitzes. You've got a guy that can plaster coverage all game long, and it helps out with the pass rush, right? The back end works with the front end. These guys get into the quarterbacks. When I look on the other side, when I look at the Chiefs corners, they're one of the youngest secondaries in the league. They have 3 rookies, Trent McDuffie, Josh Williams, and Jalen Watson. These 3 guys, they're rookie and young defensive backs, over 2,000 snaps. More than any team in the league for rookies in their defensive back. So there's an experience level, and then there's a skill level. So I'm looking at these corners right now. I think obviously for Bradbury and for Slay, look, they're going to hit you with a double move, Bradbury. Like, it's on film. You put it out there. Like team after team, week after week, they've hit you with the double move. They beat you with the double move. That's what they're going to try to do with Mahomes. Of course, he's the all-time equalizer in getting outside of the pocket. So for corners, they've got a big challenge ahead of themselves.
All right, give me pound for pound, defensive line analysis, the maturity of the secondary. Give me trick plays.
Okay.
Give me trick plays. Who has the bigger advantage? I think the Chiefs have one extra thing up their sleeve, and the Eagles better watch out. Remember this one. the double pass. We had the snow globe that happened early this season. We have wasp, of course, infamous wasp play. We have a filled lateral that happened against the Jaguars a couple weeks ago. What else do the Chiefs have to show us that's not on tape? There's a snow globe that we all know and love. Insult or not, it worked. Unfortunately, there was a holding penalty that called the touchdown back, but hell, that thing worked. The thing is, these guys are just doing this for fun, fodder, and for playing pretend in the regular season. And now, we're in the Super Bowl, and we feel like, as media, as fans, whoever, we have covered every single inch of both of these teams. Who has an extra page in their playbook? And I honestly think it's the Chiefs. That thing, I don't know why they were putting that on tape against the Jaguars or against the Bengals a couple weeks ago. That was a 10-yard lateral that didn't need to exist. But now we know it's there. Something else must exist. And I think when it comes to trickery, things that the Chiefs might be able to pull one over on the Eagles, I think the Chiefs have one, and I think that's where their advantage lies.
Trickery.
Trickery.
I like it.
And if anybody knows the extra page in the playbook that the Chiefs had, I bet it's Peter Schrager.
Yeah.
I bet it's Schrags.
Yeah.
Schrags, you don't have to tell us now what it is, but I'm going to hold you to that on Monday you tell us that indeed you knew that play that was coming.
Yeah, look, 2019, they go into the Super Bowl, and we've seen everything from Mahomes, from no-look passes to behind-the-back passes, and they run that Rose Bowl formation on the goal line where everyone is doing a full dance at once, and you're like, where did Andy Reid think of this? Where did Eric Bieniemy pull this one out of? Came from the 1949 Rose Bowl. That's how deep these guys go, especially if you give them 2 weeks to prepare. But for me, the one advantage that one team has over the other is what the Chiefs have in Mahomes and Kelsey, and that just might sound like it's cliche. Mahomes and Kelsey, I don't know what Jalen Hurts has in the fourth quarter and who he's going to in that big spot because they haven't been put in that position yet this season. They're 16-1 in games that Jalen Hurts has started. He hasn't had to pull that one out in the fourth quarter. Late in the game, I know where Mahomes is going. He's going to Kelsey. He's looking to Kelsey. And if there's 3 defenders on Kelsey, then he'll go to Valdez-Scantling, and then he'll go to Juju. But that connection that they have, and it doesn't just go player to player. You're talking about Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy, Matt Nagy, Mahomes, and of course Kelsey. It is like they speak the same language that no matter what the situation is, no matter what the crowd noise is, no matter what the adversity is, we know that they can figure it out in a 3rd and long or even in a 4th and short. The Eagles situation, they're up 38-7 in some of these games. They haven't had to face that moment yet. That to me is the advantage for Kansas City, that we know when the going gets tough, Kelsey will make a play. If Jalen Hurts is down 14-10 in the 3rd quarter, he might be able to do it. He hasn't had to do that this season. And we're talking 4th quarter comebacks. They haven't been put up against that situation yet this year. Chiefs have. That, to me, is an advantage for Kansas City. It's also an embarrassment of riches for Philadelphia. They haven't even had to face those situations, Jamie.
It's true.
Really, really good point, Peter. Yeah, if worst case scenario, the Chiefs could put up a bat signal, and we know that that would get the play across to the team if they had to. They have it all figured out. Schrags, we appreciate you. Hang tight. We'll be back with you in a little bit.